Stern, and I had thousands of cases before me at the ITC, hundreds under Section 337, which you referenced, as what I consider an opportunity, really, to answer some of this debate. And
but if we could have a quick question, please, since we have 2 minutes left.
I'd like Rob and Derek and Emily to give us their idea on how you would jigger Section 337 to deal with Chinese intellectual property that is coming into the United States, but which is using an IP, whether it's a design, a chip design, or an actual patent or a copyright, and make that into, if you will, the appropriate tool for the 21st century challenge to China. I mean, I think that would be a worthwhile discussion.
Can I give you the $20 later for asking that question?
Yeah. No, give it
Now?
to me now.
All right, in 30 seconds.
The short answer is we laid that out in a 10-step, very specific legislatable thing. It's on our website, itf.org, just put in Section 337. The quick answer is two things. One is get rid of the harm threshold, the damage threshold. There have been cases that companies have lost in 337, even though there was stolen IP, but they hadn't quite taken their market, even though they were taking the growth. That's number one. Number two is allow commerce to bring cases. Too many companies are afraid of retaliation. And I was talking to one company, it cost them $10 million to bring one case of manufacturing this. So there's a bunch of things we could do. It's super easy to do. It costs Congress nothing, well, almost nothing. So we should do it.
Ask really tiny addendum. We don't even track Chinese firms that we think have received stolen IP.
Exactly.
We don't track it. I've tried and tried and tried. Talked to the U.S. government. I mean, we track it on a case-by-case basis. Somebody says, yeah, but okay.
It's only with hindsight.
Right. Right. So we track it when it happens. We don't keep track of it. Of course, the companies change names. They spur new affiliates. We don't follow any of that. So, you know, we're starting in a world where there is evidence, and we don't gather it as a government. And it's too difficult and costly for a company to do it. It's exactly information provision, exactly what the U.S. government should do it.
All I'll say really quickly, and I'm going to zoom back out for a second because I think there's an interesting thing that you brought up that ties into a few things that we've been talking about too. And this may be my controversial take for the panel, but there's...
She says it at the end.
Yeah.
there's a really interesting case actually where the Chinese EV company or the battery company CATL or CATL has entered into some type of joint venture or joint agreement or arrangement with Ford out in Michigan. And it's supposed to be this arrangement to license CATL technology to be able to work on batteries for electric vehicles. It's a little too early to say now, but to me, it is potentially a really interesting example of us taking the Chinese strategy and using it against them, where we are now taking their intellectual property, hopefully in a way with eyes wide open, where we are actually trying to make sure that we are protecting ourselves, where we're just licensing the IP. We're not bringing too many folks from CATL into the factories. We're doing it in a way where we can actually understanding that China has the lead on electric vehicles and on batteries, and we need to find a way to catch up. Let's try to do it in a way that let's try to turn what the Chinese have done to us for decades back on them and take some of this technology that we need to be able to better our society and just better compete with China in general. I don't know. I know people have very strong feelings about the CATL example, but I think, again, too early to tell, but I think it could be a really interesting precedent that we're setting here.